What's your feeling now that you're closing in to launch?
A little bit of nervousness, as I think most publishers are when they get close to launching a AAA title like this. But we're also really excited because we think that Aion's a great product, and we're going to have a lot of great fans out there that are excited for it, and a lot of people that don't know about us yet. And as we start to get the word out and it starts to spread, we're really excited where we can go with this game.
What are your plans for post-launch support?
So the game launched last year in Korea, and they've already put out one major update, and they're working on other updates. So we're actually going to be including some of that content in our live launch. And we're going to continue to keep pumping out the content and keep pumping out the world that everyone's going to love when they get in. Yeah, we think Aion has mass appeal. It was developed for a global audience, the best of the East and the best of the West. And we've got a lot of cool, unique things built on a familiar foundation. It's a fantasy MMO, but it's a little bit different, a little bit twisted. It's not your typical Tolkien world. So I think the story is going to be unique, and people are going to want to really learn more about it and the world. And then we throw some other cool twists in there, like flight as a strategic element that's actually a stat enhancement. And then PvPvE, which is the combination of PvP and PvE, so that you kind of get the best of everything all in one. Anytime you launch a global game, you have to make sure that it fits into the infrastructure of everybody's territory. And so there's some things that we do differently in our territories than Korea does, than Japan does, than Taiwan does, than Europe does. So I think that's been one of the biggest challenges. As far as actual game technology goes, we built upon a lot of what we had learned from previous titles, as well as using a great engine and the Crytek engine. So we had good foundations to really start this game on from the beginning.
So traditionally, Korean MMOs have not been that successful outside of Korea. But why do you think that is? And what do you do with Aion to prevent this?
We think that the world maybe 10 years ago was a little bit more divided, but I think that as the internet's gotten faster and stronger and bigger, that the world's come together a lot more. And a lot of our ideas have shared over there, and some of their ideas have shared over here. And we really saw an opportunity with Aion to start from the beginning a game that would globally appeal. So you'll see a lot of the story-based quests. I mean, we have over 1,500 quests in the game. That's more of a Western idea, along with like the cool visual styles and artisticness of the Korean version. And so we've really tried to push those two together in a way that is going to have appeal everywhere. Because I mean, good art is good art, and good story is good story, no matter what country you're in.
Yeah, what are you most proud of in the game?
I really think that we've got a good system in terms of the PvPvE. I think that we're really going to appeal to the the hardcore PvE players and still allow people to be involve themselves in the PvP. I think that we really have a dynamic that hasn't been hit all that well before in MMOs, and it'll really kind of be game changing out there. So.
Yes, have you learned or changed anything specific as a result of beta testing?
Yeah, one great thing was that I believe it was in the beta 2 when there's certain areas in Aion that you can fly based off of whether you're near the Aether or not, and people were falling to their deaths, and they're like, but I have wings. And so we're like, oh, you're right. So we added the glide system in, which allows you to spread your wings and glide to the ground. You aren't able to fly because of the power of Aether isn't there, but you can still glide to the ground and not fall to your death.
And yeah, do you have a favorite area in the game?
There's a zone called Ashalgan, which is the starting area for Asmodean, which has some really vibrant colors and some great trees and forest. And I think it's really kind of a cool area that really showcases the art of Aion and really engulfs the user into the world.
Oh yes. How do you see the MMO market in 5 or 10 years' time? Do you think it will change?
I think it's going to get more and more global. I think you're going to see a lot of new ideas that it will, some will work and some won't, but I think that gradually different things will tack on to MMOs, and as you add these certain features, it's going to become more standard. And I think that's kind of the way it's evolved so far, is you start to see things that you just take for granted in MMOs, but 10 years ago, they weren't there. And so I think the games are just going to continue to evolve on the foundation that they found is successful so far.